Are aliens and humans on Mars working together? This is Final Death Star with an unfamiliar news update. After the report of former Israeli Space Security Chief Haim Eshed going on record to say that humans and aliens are on Mars working together, we take a look at another account by Randy Cramer as he discusses his alleged involvement with the Mars Defense Force, a secret government program where humans work on Mars with aliens. Are these accounts telling the same story? The details are different and they don't match exactly, but there are enough similarities that make you wonder if there is any truth to the claim that humans and aliens are really working together and quite possibly on Mars. This is an account from Gaia.com. Randy Cramer, Soldiers of the Mars Defense Force. Randy Cramer's life experience are either incredible or absurd. He reports that he spent 20 years as a Marine in the U.S. Secret Space Program, the SSP. His tour of duty took him first to an elaborate, secret, fully equipped base on the moon. Then he went to Mars, where he spent 17 years at a military base. After a major loss of human lives during a battle between the military forces and the native people of Mars, he was deployed back to the moon, where he spent his final years as a military pilot. He tells his story, vivid and captivating details. The space traveler and Mars colonist, Randy Cramer, who initially told his story under the pseudonym Captain K, says he was only 4 years old when he began training for the SSP through a program called Project Moon Shadow. He was one of approximately 300 girls and boys who were covertly drafted to participate in the program. Girls comprised only 20% of the program, a male/female ratio that remained consistent during his entire 20 years with the SSP. Cramer recalls that during his childhood, he would be taken from his bed at night, even though he would be gone for days or even weeks. He would be returned to his bed and travel back in time to when he was taken. He would wake up as though no time had passed, feeling like he had woken up from a really long dream. When he turned 17 in 1987, Cramer had been recruited to be part of the Mars Defense Force, whose purpose was to protect 5 civilian settlements already in existence on Mars. The program was not sponsored by any government or government agency, but by an international group comprised of the United States, Germany, Russia, and China. Even though these countries were not getting along very well on Earth, unbeknownst to the public eye, they secretly joined together to work on the SSP and formed the NDF. Cramer became the captain in the U.S. Marine Corps in this program and was given top secret clearance, a necessary requirement for those participating in the MDF. When Cramer left Earth, his first stop was a base on the moon that he believed had been established around 1953 or 1954. This is where he signed his enlistment papers and committed to spending 20 years of service on Mars with a special elite unit of the Marine Corps. What was the purpose of the troops on Mars? There were 3 primary purposes for sending secret military-like troops to Mars. Number 1, to establish an extraterrestrial defense for Earth. Number 2, to claim Mars as a U.S. territory. Number 3, to get Martians accustomed to having Earthlings present on their planet. In addition, the Mars Defense Force aimed to research the viability of establishing a human civilization in space should a cataclysm ever occur on Earth. Cramer was sent to the main settlement of Ares Prime, which was also the first Earth settlement on Mars. The settlement was comprised of the same types of people and organized in the same way as the original colonies were settled here in America. People with all types of skills ranging from scientists to farm workers lived in the colony. The military base at Ares Prime, called Forward Station Zebra, was where Cramer spent all of his time while on Mars. He was given the code name, quote, Zen. One of the most remarkable things that Cramer and the others of the SSP who have visited Mars say about the planet is that the air is breathable. His station was in the far north of Mars, and he says the atmosphere is similar to the Antarctic, which is why he wore a face protector. Taking the protector off in the biting cold was uncomfortable because it could be done since he could breathe the air. The Martians and Cramer's last battle. There are two main indigenous intelligent species on Mars, reptilian and insectoid. At Cramer's initial briefing, he was told that these were native savages and beasts. However, he soon learned that they were evolved species, each with their own culture, civilization, and intelligence. Their home is mostly underground, and Cramer frequently referred to them in interviews as living in hives, or nests. At first, the indigenous people treated the humans from Earth as neighbors. As long as their nests and hives were not disturbed, there was no problem. They seemed more interested in maintaining their territory rather than fighting. Even so, there were frequent skirmishes. The humans and Martians natives became weary of fighting and actually signed a treaty agreeing to peace. The treaty had two major parts to it. First, the humans would not invade the sacred places of the indigenous people. The second part of the treaty required the humans to work together with the reptoids and insectoids to fight an invading species of reptoids known as the Draconians. The Draconians were vicious and evil, but the joint venture was successful and the Draconians withdrew. Cramer gets emotional when he talks about the last battle he participated in before leaving Mars. For some reason that he was never able to understand, he was ordered as a part of a 1,000-man force to go into one of the sacred tunnels of the reptoids and capture an artifact. This was in direct violation of the treaty. Cramer expressed his concern for his commanding officer, who agreed with him, but said he had the orders from, quote, headquarters, and the mission had to be accomplished. We all got our duties, he said, so go do it. The men went through the underground tunnels and came to a large dome, about the size of a superdome or astrodome. They lost all communication with headquarters, then, suddenly, doors all around the edges opened, and outcharged the reptoids, swinging large bladed weapons. Cramer said it was like being in a blender. Cramer was one of about 35 men who survived. While he was recovering from his wounds, his superior officer met him and offered him a pilot position. That sounded great to Cramer. He spent the last 3 years of the SSP as a pilot on the moon. Restoration of life on Earth. When his 20 years of service were up, he spent several weeks on the moon from a reverse aging process so that he could return to Earth and insert it back into his original timeline in 1987. His memories of his 20 years of service were suppressed, and he did not return to his memory for many years. What does this all mean? Cramer's story is extraordinary. It is even more astonishing that similar stories are told by at least 6 other men who say they had served on the SSP or on the moon and on Mars at different times. Although their stories are all similar, they do not serve together, and they did not know each other or about each other until they began to reveal their experiences. The space travelers all recalled different travel methods, but all report experiencing some type of teleportation through a portal. This allowed them to travel quickly to these off-planet worlds. They communicated with the indigenous Martians through telepathy. All whistleblowers who tell their stories report the breathability of the Martian air. There is more to Cramer's story. He has begun telling it since 2006 and will continue his quest to convince people that there is a secret space program with civilizations established on the moon, Mars, and perhaps other planets in the solar system. This is a stunning account. As fantastical as it sounds, there are similarities to this account and the account made by Haim Eshed of the Galactic Federation. Although there are differences, there are some things that line up. Underground bases, humans and aliens working together. This goes a little more into detail about exactly what they were there for and why, and what might have happened to cause a cataclysm between humans and these reptoid creatures. Is this some elaborate hoax by both sides adding fantastical stories to sell books, or is there something more to this? Are these different tales of basically the same event? We know from investigative detectives when they go to interview witnesses of a crime scene, if everyone tells them the exact same story, they discount the stories because they believe that there could be corroboration between witnesses. However, if the basic story is the same with differences being told by different people, then it's a more reliable and trustworthy account because people see things differently and pay attention to different details of the same event. So just because there are major differences here does not mean that these are not telling of a same or similar program. Is the Galactic Federation part of the Mars Defense Force, or vice versa? Well, it's fun to ponder and to wonder, and to research. Let us know what you think in the comments down below, and subscribe to the channel if you are interested in finding out more of this topic, other UFO phenomenon, paranormal activity, biblical prophecy, strange mysteries, or hidden histories. And tune in on Sunday nights at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time for our live show, where we delve into all of these topics. We thank you for watching.